Hello, I am the Restless Kaiser and we are modelling for Advantage. Today another one of our unboxings of Tanks the Modern Age, this time the Soviet BMP expansion. So, what do we get? Not too surprisingly, we get a card pack, some sprues, and the box art and instructions. So I think it's worth taking a moment to look at this because we get a nice picture of the BMP-1 in fact, you can see here. But it's important to understand, I think, the revolution that the BMP represented to infantry forces. This is the world's first infantry fighting vehicle, and after it, almost all of the major armed forces of the world quickly tried to develop something similar. This brings a capability to infantry forces that they just didn't have before. This is a contemporary with things like the M113. That's a vehicle for transporting dudes around with a machine gun on it. This thing's got a 76mm gun, or 72.6 maybe, cannon, and an anti-tank guided weapon. It's a fully enclosed vehicle built for an era of nuclear warfare, where the infantry can fight sealed in within the compartment. There's even firing ports along the side of the vehicle, as you can see at the back here, for firing the AK-47s out the side. There was a genuine fear among the Western Allies, NATO, that these things were going to swarm all over Europe and there was really nothing that they could do about it. So, instructions on the back, very clear assembly. You can see from these the BMP-1 and the BMP-2, clearly showing the BMP-2 with the much larger turret. We've got the black and white guidelines here. This paper tells us that we're going to get an unassembled plastic BMP tank. Well, of course, it's not really a tank, is it? But it's an infantry fighting vehicle, but that's how Tanks classifies it. A BMP-1 card, a BMP-2 card, a hero card, 2 crew cards, and 2 upgrade cards. Let's have a look at the sprue then. So, the ability to assemble a BMP-1 and a BMP-2 is obviously, you can see from the 2 different hull types, they're obviously very different. The BMP-2 has got a much larger turret ring here over the BMP-1. Initial problems with the BMP-1, the fighting compartment, the crew compartment was really quite small, and the bigger turret allows them to a little bit more room within. So you get your 2 different turrets, your 2 different upper hulls, your lower hull. There's a lot of detail on the tracks and the running gear here, the wheels and so forth. I like that. That's quite nice. We've got an open and closed commander's cupola, a couple of pegs, so you could potentially build the 2 different upper hulls with the 2 different turrets on and mess around with magnets so you can change them out. I mean, these are not terribly expensive kits. I don't think I'll be bothering with that, but you could. We've also got smoke discharges. And then the 2 different missiles, which is another distinctive feature of the BMP-1 versus the 2. The BMP-1 has got the missile, attached to the gun on the outside of the vehicle, I think, whereas the BMP-2 has a more sophisticated looking mount, which again mounts on top of the turret. Alright, let's take a look at the cards. So this is one of the reasons, even if you've got a collection of these vehicles from Team Yankee or Plastic Soldier Company or whoever else, the expansion packs still bring with them some uniqueness. To start with then, the cards. So BMP-1, the first generation, has an initiative of 5, 3 firepower, 0 armor, and 3 hull points. It has the scout rule, which means it gets an extra 2 defense dice if it's in cover, and it has the spearhead rule, which allows it to deploy after deployment to make a bonus move. So, but otherwise it functions just like an ordinary tank at only 10 points. The BMP-2, however, has an initiative of 7, so much more compelling for a reconnaissance vehicle. And although the firepower is only 2, the other stats remain the same. It has rapid fire 5. So rapid fire is a rule in Tanks the Modern Age that when engaging helicopters and vehicles with a base armor of 0, then it gets to use this improved firepower rating. And that's to reflect the 30mm autocannon that it carries. So 13 points. This is a much more specialised vehicle and probably more useful. The flat 3 firepower is probably never going to kill anything. Right, those were the vehicles. What about the cards? We have 1 universal upgrade, which is the Daring Driver. When rolling defense dice, if this tank is not in cover, you may re-roll any 1 defense dice. So that's useful because it's a universal card, I guess. The upgrades, which are Soviet, are the anti-tank weapons. So for the BMP-1 you have the AT-3 Saga, which has missiles 4, and for the BMP-2 you have the AT-5 Spandrel, which has missiles 5. So it's interesting they build these as optional upgrades to the vehicle rather than integral with the vehicle. So you can model this with or without the missiles, depending on whether you tend to use them. We then have 2 crew cards. The basic crew card is the Commissar. The Commissar allows you to discard 1 crew or upgrade card to cancel a bailed out, shell-shocked or stunned crew. So if you have a morale type effect, you get to blow up a bit of your own tank or shoot one of your crew from the Commissar to ignore that ability. And then our specialist commander, our hero, is Ivan Kasparov. He has 3 initiative and 1 extra hull point to his vehicle. While this tank has a speed token, it may re-roll 1 of its attack dice. Interesting. 5-point commander, that's quite a lot, but 3 initiative is likely to be decisive. Well, that was our quick look at the BMP-1. We'll show you some stills of the card so you can get a better look and the completed model. Thank you for watching.
Могу